you can go through what you've changed from, you were talking about, the change that you had to, the skills that you had to acquire from the changing from an in-class to
Yeah.
an online class.
So I embrace this challenge with, enthusiasm. I like technology. I have all the right equipment. So I wanted to, and I like to, since this happened in the middle of the course, I wanted to emulate as much as possible the experience in the classroom. So I teach with an iPad, I share the screen, and I write the formulas, and I, just trying to do what I did in the classroom. What I noticed right away is that the natural pacing that you have in the classroom, because you have to erase the blackboard, or you have the feedback from the students with something you can see in their faces if something is not clear, so you can repeat. So that is, of course, missing because you are talking to the camera, and even though the students are there and you see their names, sometimes their faces, but it's not the same. It's like, you feel sort of alone, like lecturing. So I had to figure out ways to have a natural pacing, so students would not be tired and I would not be tired at the end of the lecture. So no matter what, every 5 minutes I stop, and open the forum for questions and just chit chat for a few seconds until we continue again. And of course, at any time the students can raise their hand and ask questions. And what I found out is the students who ask a lot of questions in class, they ask a lot of questions online. So it's pretty much the same. And those who don't say anything online either. So it was quite, I think by the end, maybe after doing this for 2 weeks, I finally found a pace that I could talk at a reasonable pace, cover material for about 30, 35 minutes, and then have a conversation with the students, more informal. So the lectures were recorded in Zoom and uploaded to the course webpage to Panopto, and also my slides are uploaded, so the students can, if they want, they can repeat everything. So I think, given this was, of course, a change in the middle of the term, so there was not a lot of time for planning in detail. My objective was to try to, to come as close as possible to the experience in the classroom.
Just for my information, how big a class are you teaching?
So I'm teaching 2 classes. One is a graduate class, so that's have 10 students. So, and the other is a upper level undergraduate class for math majors, and that has 15 students.
Okay.
So I was, I think, pretty lucky in that sense because, if I had been teaching calculus, it would be quite a more complex mechanism. But for 15 students, Zoom, I have no technical problems, and they can write me even emails if they want to, that I will not be,
overwhelmed. Right. So you have not run into any of your students who are technically challenged or and had to go to an environment where
No, I went, at the beginning, I was making sure that everybody was connected. We had some messages from the dean and the provost to make sure that all the students had the ability to connect. And I talked to the students and they all reported that they had no difficulty. Most of my students are either juniors or seniors, so they have really been around for some time. They know the system, I think, probably better than I do.
Right.
Okay.
So when this thing first started, did you reach out personally to each student to find out their situation?
Well, yeah, I wanted to make sure that everybody, we have this additional week that we have no formal classes. So I ran several tests that week because my first choice, for example, was not Panopto, but the other video tool in CourseWeb, but then I soon realized that Panopto was more flexible for what I wanted to do. You had to do trial and error, but that week we have several tests, and I want to make sure every student was able to log in and to see me, and so that I was able to do, and there was an assignment due shortly after, and everybody was able to complete the assignment and to submit the assignment. So I think that from that point of view, my students did not have any technical difficulties. We tried to, I tried to make sure that was the case, but it was really no issue in my case.
Good. So you were, your success is that you were able to almost simulate, to a T, of them sitting in a lecture hall.
I try, if I have to plan a complete course, maybe I'll do something different.
Right.
But, because, you have, but now because this was halfway through the course. So I could, I tried to, I didn't want to start too many new things,
Right.
because there was not a lot of time to think carefully about that. So what I did is that way we did a lot of testing of various things, and I wrote and checked with people. They could read what I wrote on the iPad, and everybody reported that was nice. And then the only thing that I had to change, and that was a substantial change, is the exam, because my final exam initially was going to be an exam in class,
Right.
and now of course that's not possible. So I'm giving a take-home exam, and this is taking some care, some work to write down, because you have to write an exam that, students will have access to a lot of things, the textbook, the notes, the Google, whatever. So you have to write an exam that is aware of these things, and in which I told the students, I need to be convinced that you did well. So, this is sort of as much on your duty as mine to be able to grade you. So, and this is sort of new territory in many cases, but I think my students are quite good, and they I already know how they do in the assignments, and they do quite well. So I don't expect any surprises, that people will try to get out with some cheap shot. I think they'll do their best, and hopefully the exam, which will be take home, I will be able to grade and submit the grades.
Right. There has to be some kind of trust.
Yeah, there has to be trust, and by now I know the students, so I would be very shocked if somebody who has a certain level of works now have, turns in a fantastic paper. I mean, I will probably call him or her and say, okay, let's talk about this. Explain to me, maybe you learn all this. I'll be glad, but I need some verification. So I don't expect that. I think, in a sense, I think that I was fortunate that my two classes were small. First, I thought I have two instead of one, but now the two were small. So I know that in my department, the people who teach calculus, that's technically quite more challenging, because you have thousands of students, and how do you do the exams and all that requires, so they have been working very hard, and I think to be able to do it, successfully.
Right. Right. Now, what about you personally? What have you been doing for yourself to kind of stay out? We're all kind of trapped in these.
Well, to be honest,
Togetherness.
I have my, you can see I have my mini studio here. I can turn off the background. Let's see if this is simple to do. Just a second. Virtual background. So I'll put it to none.
Okay.
So now you can see that I have a nice chair.
Right.
My computer is in front of me. I have tables to my side. So, and the lighting is not perfect, but it's fine. So I used to come here to relax, and now I come here to work all day, more or less, and of course preparing these lectures takes a lot more time than preparing the lectures when you go to class, because when you go to class, you cannot leave many things. The main topics, you have your notes, and you can go. But here there is not. You have to have everything written down. Not everything, but a good percentage already written down. So I found myself that it takes a lot of time to prepare a good lecture of this type, and then you have to start by revising the previous day. What points are you going to emphasize? Again, repeat, come back. So I should say that I have spent a lot of time just preparing the lectures and looking at the notes and trying to provide a good, learning opportunity to the students. So other than that, of course, now we have a lot of meetings in Zoom, like I have this one with you. And what I found out is that you cannot say I'm not home anymore. So
Yeah.
therefore, you're always available. So you have to be careful. We need to learn how to adjust our calendars to make sure that that this is reasonable. Like we have times, quiet times, and work times. So, and that's what I've been doing. I'm trying to keep my research. I have a few weekly meetings with my research collaborators on Zoom, and that is proving very well, because I think maybe traveling is overrated now that we cannot travel. I was going to some conference for 3 or 4 days. You have to take the plane, all that, and if you can do many things in Zoom, it's really. I think there is going to be after before and after this COVID-19 scenario, that people are gonna think twice about traveling. So I might try to do some exercise just to make sure I will not end up this with, having gained a lot of weight. But I try to do as best as I can. So, and one of the things that I do, which is that I am the faculty advisor of the undergraduate radio club. So, and we, of course, we don't have any meetings in person anymore, but we meet on Zoom every week. We try to keep our activities going on as best as we can, So that is also interesting. I talk to students who are not taking my classes, so they tell me how they're doing. And many alums are showing up. Many alums are graduated, because everybody's at home, so
Right.
they're showing up. So that's quite interesting from that point of view. So I would say that I find myself busier, at least as busy as when I had to go to the office every day.
Yeah, I found that myself. It's like you can't. When I left the office, I left the office.
Exactly.
Now you can't leave the office.
Now your office is with you, and that's it. And I have collaborators in Europe, so there are different time zones. Some people call. Everything is it's a different world. I say I hope it's for good, and when we recover from this situation, things will be better. But it's definitely going to be different. I think different.
Yeah, I think maybe the next time somebody asks or requests to travel to a conference, they're going to say, "Well, why can't you just Zoom it?"
And one thing that I'm going to do, if I go to a conference, I used to ask a colleague to substitute teaching for me. I think now I will probably do it myself. I mean, that's probably best to keep continuity in the course, everything, and you can travel. So I think we have now a better tool if you need to travel that we didn't think we had before.
Right. Well, I think that's pretty much it. Unless there's anything that you think that we missed.
No. I mean, thank you for talking to me, and I think overall I think I'm optimistic how things will develop. Once we go over this initial hump, and I think I think many people have learned many things by doing this. Sort of you have to do it, and sometimes that's the way to learn. So I'm quite happy that, and I'm very thankful to the university because we have no technical glitches at all with Zoom or with internet access. I mean, everything has been working very well. The technology has never been an issue. So I think that's quite important because I know of other places where that is not the case. So.
Right. Yeah, I think they've done a great job. A lot of people have stepped up.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, I mean, but to do a course online, I think, like you said, you just don't want to, do it like we did. If you want to put on a course online, it takes months to.
I mean, yeah, to do it,
Correct.
Something different. Like if we are, suppose now we're told the fall will be online. Then we have to spend the summer thinking, well, how am I going to do this? Because it's not like now in the middle we have to sort of jump into the situation. So, but I think, it will be, potentially better. I mean, all this technology has been here. Universities, we have never been very, very, I'll say, welcoming of these things. But now I think it's a good opportunity to catch up.